From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, this is From the South, and I'm Jose Daniel Lopez. A few hours ago, U.S. President Donald Trump gave a speech at Florida's International University. The main topic he discussed was the political situation in Venezuela. Trump threatened the Bolivarian armed forces, stating that they stand to lose if they continue supporting President Nicolás Maduro.
We seek a peaceful transition of power, but all options are open. We want to restore Venezuelan democracy, and we believe that the Venezuelan military and its leadership have a vital role to play in this process. If you choose this path, you have the opportunity to help forge a safe and prosperous future for all of the people of Venezuela. Or you can choose the second path, continuing to support Maduro.
During his speech, Trump also claimed the twilight of socialism has arrived, not only for Venezuela, but in Cuba and Nicaragua as well.
Socialism is dying, and liberty, prosperity, and democracy are being reborn. Today, our hearts are filled with hope because of the determination of millions of everyday Venezuelans, the patriotism of the Venezuelan National Assembly, and the incredible courage of interim President Juan Guaido. The people of Venezuela are standing for freedom and democracy, and the United States of America is standing right by their side.
Soon after Trump's speech, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro responded to it. He called out Donald Trump's sudden concern for the Venezuelan people.
Suddenly, Donald Trump woke up, and he woke up with a big love for Venezuela, and he wants to help Venezuela. When did he ever wanted to help somebody in his life? Can somebody understand? Can you really believe that he loves Venezuela? What does he love about Venezuela? The oil, the gold, diamonds, the gas. His eyes go round and big. The worst part is that people in Venezuela are puppeteers of his government that are serving the empire and take off their masks, and they call for invasions.
Editor of the Grazyzone, Max Blumenthal, joined us from our Caracas studio with his reaction to Trump's speech.
Well, this is the second call that Donald Trump has made to the Venezuelan military, calling on them to turn their backs on the elected president, Nicolás Maduro. And the last call, which was made on January 22nd, was not heeded by the military. Only 2 out of something like 2,000 officers actually defected. So basically the coup has completely failed to this point, and Trump reiterating his call shows how desperate the forces in Washington have become as the reality show coup fails in plan A, and they realize they have no plan B. They're making it up as they go along. And I thought it was really ironic that when the right-wing Venezuelan exiles were waiting for Trump's speech in their red MAGA hats, they were listening to the soundtrack of the Rolling Stones, Time Is on My Side, because time really is not on the Trump administration's side here, and desperation is beginning to set in Washington.
3 days ago, Facebook suspended the page belonging to the alternative media outlet In The Now, reportedly at the request of CNN and think tanks which were founded by U.S. government. The page had nearly 4 million subscribers and, according to the outlet, did not violate any Facebook rules. No warning was given, and In The Now says that Facebook has not responded. According to Rania Halek, who works for the outlet, it's no coincidence that the government prompt CNN to suspend the account when alternative outlets are the only platform challenging the U.S. plot on Venezuela. And Grazyzone journalist Anya Paraplil also joined us. She reacted to what she calls censorship of the alternative media outlet. The outlet recently produced content which was critical of U.S. policy on Venezuela.
I absolutely believe the censorship of In the Now's Facebook page has everything to do with the content that it puts out, particularly on issues of U.S. empire. My good friend Rania Khalek makes videos. She's a correspondent for In the Now, and many of her spots on issues like Saudi Arabia and even what's been going on here in Venezuela have gone viral, gotten millions of hits, and this is very threatening to the mainstream media and you know, its allies in the U.S. intelligence community. And it's very clear that this attack on In the Now was done in coordination. It was led by CNN, which sought to expose In the Now as Russian-funded, even though it was never a secret that In the Now had a relationship with RT.
The Bolivarian patrol took to the streets of Caracas, Venezuela over the weekend to show their support for President Nicolás Maduro. Let's take a look in this report.
The Bolivarian patrol took the streets on their motorcycles over the weekend in Caracas to send a strong message to the world.
We want peace. We don't want the Yankees here in Venezuela. We Venezuelans have liberated 5 countries, and our freedom will continue.
They rode around the city with their national flag flying high. They say their country can't be conquered and are prepared to defend its independence.
I am willing to fight for my people. Us women are here defending our country, defending the social programs implemented by our president that helps us. You can count on us.
Everyone present strongly condemned the threats of a U.S. invasion.
We, as a Latin American superpower, want to say to the U.S. empire that they must respect people's self-determination. That is why we are here, the sons of Chavez, of Bolivar, to demand an end to the siege of Venezuela. We demand respect.
They wholeheartedly said yes to peace, unity, and a dialogue to remain a Venezuela free of foreign influences.
Colombian President Iván Duque has continued taking a hostile stance against the Venezuelan government. His ambiguous remarks, especially regarding the entrance of U.S. troops into the country, could endanger the life of millions and divert attention from domestic issues. Our correspondent Manuel Jiménez from Bogotá brings us more details.
Colombian political analysts and historians are trying to draw attention to the fact that over 80 million people living in Colombia and Venezuela could be affected by an armed conflict in the region. They point out that President Iván Duque cannot remain ambiguous in his approach to the situation when millions of lives are at stake. Meanwhile, the Colombian president continues with his hostile diplomacy towards the Venezuelan government and ignoring the ongoing murders of social leaders across Colombia. Just over the weekend, 2 social leaders were killed. Mining leader Jaime Jiménez and social leader Querubín Zapata were both murdered in the northern state of Antioquia. Zapata was promoting gender diversity in the region and was reporting to authorities about small-scale drug trafficking.
We thank Manuel for that report. The Cuban foreign minister has met with 108 ambassadors and heads of diplomatic missions to gather support against military action in Venezuela. On his Twitter account, Rodriguez said, "We call on all governments, parliaments, political forces, popular, social, indigenous, national and international organizations and NGOs to publicly express a stance against the use of U.S. military force in South America." The constitutional reform in Cuba, approved by the National Assembly, has been debated for 3 months in communities and workshops. In this report, we learn more about the process that Cubans started last August.
In this research center for livestock improvement, the island's constitutional reform is being debated.
This is very important because we're making out the path we must go take. And in this particular case, we're looking forward to contributing to our country's development.
Scientists leave the laboratories for a few minutes to join the debate with their colleagues. Several topics are being discussed. One of them is same-sex marriage.
God created man and woman so they can procreate. And I think that was no mistake. That's why I think that it would be a big mistake to approve same-sex marriage. We won't be able to go back.
For others, same-sex marriage follows the humanist goal of the Cuban Revolution.
I don't think that we should do what the rest of the world does. This is about a constitution, and we are going to be able to hear what every citizen has to say. As each citizen will have the opportunity to vote for the constitution, we are defending a human right. It's not only from a historic or religious point of view, about giving citizens the opportunity to understand other citizens.
Participants of the referendum's first round agreed that the debate is a democratic expression of their country.
For us, being part of the constitutional reform debate alone is already important. The other important thing is to apply what our constitution says.
The first constitutional reform debate was done last August on Fidel Castro's 92nd birthday. For many, the Magna Carta that includes their political thinking is also a homage to the leader of the Cuban Revolution.
More news in a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back. Some violent protests against Haiti's President Jovenel Moïse continue in the capital, Port-au-Prince. A group of protesters called on the Russian and Chinese governments to help resolve the growing crisis in the country. The demonstrators also burned an American flag to protest the Haitian government's ties with the Trump administration. More than a week of protests has left at least 9 dead and dozens injured. Our correspondent in Port-au-Prince, Pablo Perez, has more.
A
new week begins here in Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, after days of popular protests in different parts of the city calling on the president, Jovenel Moïse, to resign. This over the alleged theft of nearly $2 billion in Venezuelan oil relief. And the communication Moïse gave on Thursday night has not been well received, bringing new protests. It wasn't until the Prime Minister, Jean-Henri Siant, spoke to the people to promise new economic solutions, including direct actions against corruption and investigations into missing government funds. And that was welcomed in a positive way by some members of the opposition, which are very fragmented. And last night, another message was given expressing the government's intentions to return to normality. And this Monday, we can still see that bank offices have opened, traffic has been regulated, but schools are still closed. And that has been the main barometer for calm in Port-au-Prince. For over 2 weeks, children have not been sent to classes due to lack of security and repression by the government. There is still no official death toll from last week's demonstrations, and that has people asking the government for clear, specific figures.
The International Monetary Fund is predicting strong growth for Grenada as it prides the island on its economic recovery. The fund's deputy managing director recently met with Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell. Toasang said that Grenada is the fastest growing economy in the region with an average growth rate of 5%. The IMF says it will also help further strengthen the island's resilience against natural disaster and climate change. At least 24 people have died after a traffic accident in Bolivia. According to local media, a bus and a cargo truck had a head-on collision in the south of the country. Dozens were injured and transferred to nearby hospitals. Police said an investigation is ongoing to find the cause of the accident.
We regret a very painful event, a collision between two vehicles, a bus and a dump truck. It happened around 2 a.m. in Tolapampa, near Machacamarca. It was raining when the accident happened.
Not even a month passed since the deadly dam disaster in Brazil, but authorities evacuated about 200 residents over the weekend near another dam owned by Vale S.A. The company said people were taken to community centers and hotels over fears the dam will crack. This comes a week after 2 communities were evacuated from their homes near to another dam. Last month's mudslide in the municipality of Brumadinho left 170 dead and about 140 are still missing. In central Guatemala, communities say they have uncovered a misappropriation of more than $300,000, a large sum paid to repair and maintain one of the main roads.
This is one of the roads that was abandoned near the municipality of Uspatan after the budget for its maintenance had been embezzled.
The company says 70% of the road work has been done, but as you can see, there is nothing here. They also say that only 20% of the budget were used for it. We don't know about that, but what we do know is that the work the company claims they did was never done.
According to a contract signed by the mayor of Uspatan, Pedro Maldonado, the maintenance of the rural road through Chamac village to La Gloria village was scheduled to be finished by April 2018.
Both the mayor and the legal representative of the international company, Central American, Mexican and Caribbean constructor, signed the contract. The total cost of the road work was a little bit over $300,000.
Locals condemn that the embezzlement of hundreds of thousands forced the community to make compromises and maintain the road themselves over the years.
When the landslide came, it was the community who paid for the debris to be removed. Exactly from here, where we stand now. After that, the machinery rammed it only a little bit.
Locals say that the mayor hired people to fill some of the potholes after they protested and cross-checked the accounts with the municipal accountant.
The agreement says that the crossroads have already been built. We haven't seen any of that. Just now they are building some, but this road is still bad.
Locals pointed out that the roads haven't been maintained in the neighboring community either, and the people there feel abandoned.
Students in the South African city of Durban have marched to the mayor's office demanding justice for a student who was killed during protests 2 weeks ago. The 20-year-old student was shot and wounded by private security guards during a protest at the Durban University of Technology. He later died in hospital. A Kenyan entrepreneur has made a name for himself by making furniture from recycled tires. Jeffrey Yeoboa started his own business in Accra 5 years ago. He uses recycled tires, glass, fabric, and colored ropes to make his work stand out. Now he trains 2 people to be part of Vision.
The vision for this business is big, is wide. So I look at the broader picture, not what I'm facing now. Sometimes I wake up with no money at all in my pocket. I've used every money to buy ropes, and since I'm training people, there are some material that I will do that I will never sell them because I was just training people with it and all that. So at the end of the day, I will not get anything, but nothing stops me.
Time for a second break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Palestinians are condemning a decision by the Israeli government to freeze millions of dollars in tax money owed to the Palestinian Authority. On Sunday, the Israeli government decided to cut over $138 million from funds designated for the PA because of its support of jailed Palestinian militants. Tel Aviv collects around $175 million every month in taxes on behalf of the PE.
It is an occupying country, and its leadership is turning into a bunch of thieves. This decision will be challenged by all of the Palestinian people, where the authority, the national movement, and the Palestinian people. This will not pass, and my estimation is that this will take the economic crisis that is already occurring in Palestine worse, and making the crisis worse will lead to an outburst.
At least 15 people have been killed after twin explosions hit the Syrian city of Idlib. An explosive device was initially set off in the main street of the city. The second one exploded moments after civil defense workers arrived at the site. The Idlib region is the last area still opposing the Syrian government. Australia's Prime Minister claims a foreign government was behind a cyber attack on the country's lawmakers. The nation's cyber intelligence agency earlier on this month told lawmakers to change their passwords after it allegedly detected an attack on the national parliament's computer network. However, the head of the country's security agency said they have not yet identified who was behind it.
Members will be aware that the Australian Cyber Security Centre recently identified a malicious intrusion into the Australian Parliament House computer network. During the course of this work, we also became aware that the networks of some political parties, Liberal, Labor and Nationals, have also been affected.
German Chancellor Angela Merkel has warned against U.S. plans to withdraw troops from Syria. Merkel said the move will allow Russia and Iran to strengthen their role in the region. Around 2,000 troops are set to withdraw. 7 British MPs are splitting from the Labour Party and urging the party leader Jeremy Corbyn to resign. This in response to Corbyn's Brexit strategy. After the announcement, the Labour leader tweeted, quote, "I'm disappointed that these MPs have felt unable to continue to work together for the Labour policies that inspired millions at the last election and saw us increase our vote by the largest share since 1945. Poland has reacted to Israel's accusations of anti-Semitism. Let's take a look at that and some other stories from around the world.
The Polish Prime Minister has confirmed that Poland is pulling out of the summit in Jerusalem, Israel, following accusations of anti-Semitism by Israeli authorities. Israel's foreign minister accused Poland of participating in the Holocaust and said that all Polish people have innate anti-Semitism. The Czech Republic also cancelled its attendance at the summit in solidarity with Poland.
I made the decision to recall the Polish delegation from the meeting in Israel, so Foreign Minister Jacek Czaputowicz will also not go there. I have made this decision because words uttered by the newly appointed Israeli Foreign Minister, Mr. Katz, are totally unacceptable not only in diplomacy, but in my opinion also in the public sphere. In World War II, Poles were the nation that suffered most besides Jews and the Roma.
Fires continue to displace hundreds of people in northern Spain. The fire started last Thursday. On Sunday night, crews were still working to get them under control. No deaths have been reported. Investigators are working to find out how the fire started. Activists have demonstrated at London Fashion Week to raise awareness of climate change. They highlighted the fashion industry's carbon footprint. Actress Rose McGowan walked in wearing a T-shirt with a political slogan, and fashion designer Vivienne Westwood sang to the audience. Models strutted down the catwalk with bold-colored makeup, anti-consumerist clothing and prosthetics.
And with this, we come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telsurenglish.net. And don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Jose Daniel Lopez. Thank you for watching.